Hey, Mike Healy here. Listen, I want to cover the Evolv comp plan, but I want to do it kind of in basics, because a lot of times it can get overwhelming. A lot of people have asked me to kind of decipher it, break it down for you in simple steps that you can understand it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover the most important aspects of it, and you can go through and read the documentation and get the specifics and the details. But this will kind of help you to understand how quickly you can make some money and obviously how big the potential is to make a lot of money. First thing I'll cover is the retail distribution of it, the fast start checks, which is the immediate income, binary, which has to do with building a team, the check match on building the team and building leaders in the team, and then the global bonus pools for those of you who really take this to a big level. So I'm going to just kind of draw this on here. If I get out of screen, that's fine, but I think you're going to see that. Now, on a retail side, basically when you join the business, this is you, okay? So you're going to have you right there. And one of the things that we have that's real important is we have the 1-2 free. Now what the 1-2 free means is that if you get 3 customers that are using $100 or more in PV, personal volume for themselves or higher, 3 customers only, this is people that have not become distributors but just customers, that if you're on 100 or more PV, yours is now free. Basically it's covered, okay? So that's the 1-2 free, just so you have that in your head. And customers can do the same, by the way, and they actually get a free website to do that. But on the retail side of it, when you get your customers, and I'll just use the customers as little slashes right here, when you get your 3 customers, not only do you have the ability to get the product for free, but on those 3 customers, you're going to get paid between 10 and 15% on their orders. Now, how you get 10 or 15 is I would highly recommend that you get the Premier E-Center by the corporate from Evolv, which is the $19.95, and that actually gets you 15% of commission. So you're going to get that the higher retail of 15% just for doing that. Okay, so if you got your 3 customers, that's the check right there. Now a fast start would be above and beyond just gathering a customer. A fast start would be if you gather a promoter. So you sign somebody up who paid the $49 membership, and they become a promoter. You're going to make between 10 and 15% on their initial order. And that initial order actually is within their first 4 weeks of being in the business. So when you sign somebody up, as an example, you sign your first person up, whatever product purchase they make on the commissionable volume, you'll see the PV for each product purchased. You'll make, if you're on the Premier E-Center, you're going to make 15% on that initial order. Okay, so Fast Start's really just as many of those people as you enroll, you can get the Fast Start on. So let's check that off. Now, the bigger one, and this is where I want to spend more of my time, is if you want to make a lot of money in network marketing, the biggest thing you got to do is build a team, because all it really comes down to is leverage. Okay, your objective is to get paid on millions and millions of dollars worth of products being sold, purchased, and so on. But it's easier to do that if it's not just you trying to do it yourself. You're out there, have an organization of people doing it. That's the whole power of direct selling and network marketing. Now with the binary, what the word buy means is 2. One side, you have 2 sides. You have a left side and you have a right side. So, okay, obviously you can see that. And obviously you can expand this screen. There's probably an expand button to make this bigger so you can read this better. But in a binary, you have to get paid on the binary checks. Okay, on the binary checks, you have to have 1 person at least on your left side and 1 person on your right side. Now the fast starts will come automatically no matter what. You don't have to have somebody on each side for the fast starts, but from the binary, you have to have somebody on your left and somebody on your right. Okay, and I'm going to just keep this clean so we can keep track of what we're doing here. In the binary, you get paid 10% on the lesser leg volume. Okay, LV, lesser leg volume, off an organization. So as an example, if you put somebody on your left and then somebody on your right, let's say this person's purchasing happened to be 100, okay? So they bought $100 worth of product. And this person over here bought $90 worth of product. Take a guess which side would be the lesser leg volume. It would be this leg. Now if you happen to personally sponsor both those people, you would have made the fast starts, but you would have also made the binary bonus on the lesser leg volume because you did the requirements of having someone on your left and someone on your right. Okay, so no matter what, you have to have a left and a right. Now let me slow down a little bit because I can get kind of fast. With this type of binary, what's really nice about this is all of our bonuses and all of our checks are very easy to obtain because they're strictly on volume. It's just your requirements are based on the volume. The more volume you have for certain promotions is really all that matters. It's not necessarily how many people you have, which is hard in a lot of comp plans. You see a lot of unilevels, stair-step breakaways, and comp plans that have like dynamic compression. A lot of that has to do with a lot of reps in the right spots, and you miss out on tons of money because it's on people that may necessarily not want to build the business. Okay, so ours is based on sheer volume, which makes it a lot easier for you to get paid. So let me stay on track here. So if you have somebody on your left and somebody on your right, what would happen in a binary, what's really unique about this, is if you sponsored, let's say, a third person, since you already have one here and one here, you'll notice in your back office you'll see empty spots under both sides, okay? I always would recommend that you build to the far left or the far right, depending on where you need them. So if you had a third person, you may decide to put that third rep here, okay? What happens here is now the volume for this guy, let's say he buys $100 worth of volume, that's actually going to count towards this person right here having $100 in volume towards his business, and it would obviously help him to offset his lesser or greater size of volume requirements for promotions. And if you sponsored a fourth one, you're looking over here, let's say this guy has 100 and let's say this person has 50 in volume. Well, you wouldn't put your next person over here. You would look based on the volumes you have, and you'd say, hey, I'm going to put my fourth rep over here. Okay, so these are all personally sponsored people, but you happen to, and you have the ability to place them. You'll notice in your back office under the what they call the binary viewer, there'll be a little box to the side that's called the holding tank, and you'll see the names of the people written in there. And then what you do is you go in and you find an open spot and click the placement button, pick those people, and you have to have them placed before the Friday at midnight of that week Central Time to place them. Okay, so basically on a binary, all you're looking for is you're going to make, you always make the retail, you always make the fast start, but on the binary about building a team is, let's say rep 2 goes out and sponsors his first person. He might put his first person down here because he has to have somebody to his right, and then his second person he would put to his left. So this is 2's first and 2's second right here. So he's now qualified. Well, rep 4 now just got a little bit of a kind of a gift because somebody put somebody down there, and again, this person's volume would count towards this person's lesser or greater side volume. So the power in a binary is you have the ability to kind of help people with extra volume because of your personal efforts. If you're a good recruiter, that's one of the things that I have that I think I have good going for me is I'm good at recruiting, is I'm always dropping people down into the business and so on, and and there's no guarantees. You got to go out and work the thing. And we promote a thing in our team called the Pace Setter. It has you won't find it anywhere besides on our team site that teaches 5 left, 5 right is within each 90 days, just so you're building that structure and that stability. Now, let me clean this up a little for you, okay, just so I can keep it on track. Is, like I said, you got your second rep over here, and you get your first rep here, and you put your third rep here, and then let's say you put your fourth rep here. Now what happens is if we're doing our job, you're doing your job, I'm doing my job, we start teaching these people getting to, and you're dropping them down, they're doing the same thing, it just starts to build out. And this guy's going to put his 2 here. So and this guy might put a person here and so on. And what's nice about a binary is that it's not, like I said a second ago, it's not based on levels, which is real important. So if you're top guy in a normal unilevel comp plan, got promoted to a high level and it cut off all that volume, that wouldn't be much fun that you worked so hard to get a good guy in and now you're not getting paid on him. And that happens a lot with dynamically compressed comp plans too, by the way. But with a binary, it has nothing to do with levels, it's on sheer volume. So basically this leg, could be 500, 1,000, 10,000 people deep, and it's just counting the volume. Now, as an example, the cool part about a binary too is, let's say you put 2 or 3 personals down here and they're duds. They don't do anything. They try a product, they get off the get off the product, it doesn't matter. It's not going to hurt you in any way. That volume will always roll up, okay, because it's just going to consistently look at left side, right side. And you could have a left side flip and a right side flip. You know, you could have 10,000 on this side one week and 5,000 on this side, and then vice versa the following week. The computer will always pay you that. And I try to slow down because I get this thinking in my head to make sure that if you're a new person, you get this. Is what's really neat too, if you think about it, you know, 10% weak leg is like the equivalent of 5% both legs, if you really think about it, okay? So the reason I want to point that out is because a lot of times people will get in and they may have a stronger upline, a person above them that's just dropping people like crazy on them, and then they go, hey, you know what, all I have to worry about is one leg. Now there's a yes and a no to that. With a yes is, okay, that's cool. You have one leg to focus on, all right? You're doing that, and you're not really adding to that. But the cool part, and I'm going to move to part 2 or 3 or whatever, because the binary was the 10%, I think you get that, 10% lesser leg, is my favorite part of our comp plan is what they call the check match. Because the check match to me is, if you do this right and you're on the team system and you're learning the skills and you're building an organization, you take your time to do this, this is the money where 80% of your income in a few years will come from the check match, because it is actually an override off of all the people in your organization that are actually getting a binary check. So if you're doing your job right, if you think of how many people, all they have to do is get one on this side, and they get a check, and you're getting an override off of hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of people that you're overriding, that money can be obnoxious, okay? So at first, you'll make the majority of your money on retail or customer sales. Then you'll sponsor a few people because you picked up some skills and you made some fast start money. The binary is going, hey, you know, congratulations for getting a sales force going, building a team. The check match lets you know you're the real deal, and that's where you make your bulk of your check. And 80 down the road, probably 5 years from now, 80% of your 100,000 or whatever check it will be, would be from check matches, believe it or not, because of the size of how many people are getting checks. Now, the power of the check match, and let me take the time to explain this, is with the check match literally just looks for genealogy sponsorships. Okay, so as an example, this is somebody you personally enrolled is considered your own genealogy. Okay, your own team is what it would be labeled on in the back office. The people that are spilled into your organization they don't count for your check matches. So it's just on the people that you sponsored. But we have not only personal check matches that you can get, but most importantly, generational check matches. Okay, and let me slow down, because if you get this, you won't quit the business, and you'll really continue to help work with your team. As an example, you have the ability to make between 15 and 45% on the overrides of all the checks of everybody in your organization. Okay, basically, generationally, it goes 7 generations, but a generation's, by somebody that's like a 5K. So it's almost everybody you would get paid on. But you would make, let's say this guy went out and he started building an organization. He had a left side and a right side, so he's eligible for a binary check. And as these guys go and it gets bigger and bigger, if you're overriding his check, let's say that month you're eligible and he makes a check for $1,000, you'd make 15, 20, 45% on this guy's check. That's in addition to the binary and the fast starts and all that, okay? So it's a pretty good override. The same thing would go for here is, let's say this guy goes out and starts building, this guy has a left side and a right side, so he starts making a binary, you're getting overrides on that, same thing with these guys and so on. The cool part about generational check matches is now, let's say this guy right here, you didn't sponsor him, you don't have a clue who he is, Rep 2 got him in, and this guy went out and started building a real good left side, right side for himself, you would actually override this guy's check. Okay, so the cool part is, now here's where this gets fun, and this is just this comment is probably going to be directed towards the networker, the person who understands comp plans and understands big money. Is, let's say this happens to be your greater leg. This is your big volume leg. Let's say, just to put it over the top, let's say there's $1 million in volume here, and you never have to worry about it again, okay? But over here is your pay leg, basically your team leg that you're really building, and you're making 10% off of all that. Well, let's say you've got $10,000, $20,000 in volume coming in a week on this leg. You would be making the 10%. So as an example, this guy right here, let's say he's responsible for all that went under there, and you're making the 10% on it. But guess what? If this guy's making a check over here of $1,000, $5,000 a week, and you're overriding it by 45%, that literally makes that volume worth over 15, 20% on all the volume. There's nothing else out there that you can get paid that kind of money on volume that you're helping to build. I mean, it doesn't exist in a comp plan. And I'm very good at dissecting them and looking at all the different things, I mean, to a degree. So this could be your pay leg, and you could literally be, almost what I would call it labeling triple and double dipping on it on the same volume because of the check matches. Because if this guy right here is putting in tons of volume and you're making 10% on it, and he's helping this guy get a check, this guy's getting a check, and you're overriding that, it's substantial. Whereas in a lot of the other comp plans, especially comp plans that have to do with that are built like unilevels, there's a lot of people that are out there building unilevel comp plans like a binary, trying to max out the comp plan because they're sharing volumes for promotions. But eventually it backfires because you'll have the people where all the volume was match these people's these ranks, and it shuts off all that volume that they were originally getting paid on. You'll see them, their incomes go like this, and then a few people finally get promoted and they drop. And then those people fall out, and then it's not a good situation. And I know this from experience, by the way. I've always had a method to my madness when I teach it. So with a check match, slow down here. Is it really a check match? Is based on anybody in your personal enrollment tree that gets people you can get paid on. Last thing that I will just briefly touch on is a global bonus pools. And we do have rank advancement bonuses that the company offers because we have little because you have to, what you measure matters. You have to have little rank advancements and so on. Global bonus pools, basically you can make up to 3% of 3% of the company's worldwide sales goes into a pool that is split with the elite ranks and above, and anybody's eligible to get in it. What makes it nice is it allows cross-pollination, I guess you could say, of friendships with everybody in other organizations and so on that may not necessarily be in your organization. So you have a vested interest in in going, wow, great job to somebody in California or Mexico because they're putting a ton of people in, and you're applauding it because you are going to get paid ultimately on the volume because it's company-wide. So the global bonus pools really are rewards to those elite people in the company that really have built huge organizations, and they get rewarded handsomely for doing that. So if you kind of and I hope I didn't go too long on here, and there's always a slider button, you can go back or forward. Retail's your initial money, fast starts are your next step in your money, the binary is on basically building your team, the check match is just more of an advanced form of helping get paid extra money to develop leadership and leaders in your organization. And then global pools are basically your reward for really sticking it out and building a big organization. But the thing is let me clean this up just a tad again one more time, is the biggest thing to remember is that if this is you, and I use these markers so often that they dry out, is all you're doing is you're going left, right, left, right. Look up our teams, inquire about our thing called the pace setter, about putting 5 people on one leg and 5 people on another and so on. Because if you're constantly driving the depth, it literally forces people to literally look at their business in fact, and you're setting people up. And if we teach this guy to do the same thing, drive people deep here and drive people deep here, we're all working together simultaneously to build this as fast as we can, and all that volume comes up. So hopefully I didn't confuse you too much. This is just some basics. You can get the details. Checks are paid every week on all of these. They basically look on your computer, they check it out. All the promotions run in 4-week increments, so based on if you need to have 20,000 in overall team volume, it's on a rolling 4-week period. So you might have a 1 week, a lesser week 1 week, and then it ranks up the next 3 weeks. But then the fourth week it kicked in again, or the fifth week was bigger and it added up. It doesn't matter, and you can go through there. So the number one thing you got to remember is just to keep it simple. Don't get just complicated. You don't have to get into detail about how the global pool works if you haven't got a customer. Okay, don't even worry about that. The same thing with fast start check. Check matches aren't going to really mean squat to you unless you've gotten some fast starts, because you don't have a team to get built, get paid on to begin with. So just remember that. Keep it simple, keep it basic, work through the comp plan. Trust me, they will pay you. The computer tracks everything. It's very accurate. It'll make sure you get your checks on time. And if you get a check and you don't know where it came from, we can always explain it to you, show you how you got that check, and most importantly, how to repeat that action and get another one. So hopefully this helped you out a little bit. I know a lot of people have been inquiring about it, and again, if you need anything, you can always go to some of the websites that are out there and check them out. So thanks again for being on here. My name is Mike Healy, and I will see you at the top. Bye.